Welcome back to my channel, everyone. In today's build, we're going to be building this cool bank UI, and it has the following features. The first one is this switch, which changes it from dark to light, and also the text or the component on the screen are going to respond to this switch, and their colors are going to change. And also, we're going to be using React Native Reanimated to give our components some cool animations and bring it to life. Also, we're going to be achieving all this styling using Tailwind CSS. So you're going to learn how to install Tailwind CSS and use it in your React Native app. Also, you're going to be learning how to use custom fonts from Google Fonts, and whatever font you want to use for your app, you're going to learn how to use it right here. And finally, you'll be able to deploy these and share with your friends so that they can check it out on their phone. And this works perfectly on iOS and Android. So without further ado, let's jump into creating this cool UI. So to get started, we're going to create a folder in our desktop directory, and we're going to call that bank UI. We're going to drag that into our Visual Studio Code. And after that, we're going to bring this out. Then we're going to create a new terminal. And here is where we want to install all our dependencies. So we head to our browser, and the first one we're going to install is React Native itself using Expo Go. So all we have to do is just copy this link, and you can find the website on reactnative.dev. And you head back to your code, you paste this, and we're going to clear this and say we want to call this something else. We're going to say UI bank, click that, and this is going to install React Native using Expo. So when this has installed, we're going to head into the folder that we installed it by saying UI bank. Then inside of this, we're going to install the remaining dependencies. So we head back to our browser, and we head over to reactnavigation.org. We're going to come down, and we're going to install React Navigation Native. We're going to bring that, install that, and also when we head back, also want to install the React Native Safe Area Context so that whatever design we have here, it doesn't goes under this status bar and it is not blocked at all. They don't interfere with each other. So we're going to copy that, head back into our code. We're going to paste this, install it. I normally like to install all my dependencies as soon as possible, and I'm going to head back to my browser and go to native wind. This is Tailwind CSS, and this is going to let us use Tailwind CSS in our code. So we're going to copy this, head back to our code. This is still installing, it has installed. So we're going to say npm I, paste this. This is going to install native wind. And after, we're going to head back to this and copy this. Let this one install. And after that, we're also going to paste what we copied now, but we don't want this at all. We want to say npm I /dev tailwind css, and also we want to install a specific version because the latest version is not stable with this Expo. So we're installing 3.3.2. Click that. It's going to install the tailwind css, and after that, we're going to copy this as well. We're going to head back to our code, and we're going to paste this. This will create a .js file, and it is from Tailwind, as you can see it right here. So inside of this, we're going to paste something, and we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste that right here. Save that. And this we want to change to source because we want to have a source folder in our app. We head back, scroll up, then you're going to copy this as well. You go back, you go to your babel.config.js, then you're going to put that under this. Also, we're going to put something after this as well, which is React Native Reanimated, that will give our app all these cool animations. So we head back to our code, go to our browser, and also we're ready to use Tailwind CSS. We're done with that. The next package we're going to install is React Native Reanimated. We're going to copy this, go back, we're going to paste this, but we don't want to install this version. And the version that we want to install is 3.3.0. This is going to install the stable version that works with the current Expo. Then also we're going to head back to our browser, and after that we're going to install Expo splash screen. This is going to be a splash screen in case our font hasn't loaded yet. So let this one install, and we're going to paste that as well. We can install the latest Expo splash screen, no issues with that. And also we want icons in our app, so we're going to install React Native hero icons. So we're going to copy this, head back to our code, we're going to paste this, install that also to install the latest one. And finally, we're going to be using some specific kind of fonts in our app, and we're going to be using Space Grotex. To find out, all you have to do is just go to fonts.google.com and search for Space Grotex. Then you're going to select all the fonts that you want. In my case, we are using everything, and you can see them right here. All you have to do is just download them, download these fonts, and put it in your fonts folder. And we're going to do that in a minute. And after this, you're going to head back to your code. Everything has installed, but something remains, and that is to put the React animated plugin right here. It must be the last one. It must not be the first. It must always be the last to make sure that our animation works. Once that is ready, all we have to do is just start our app by saying npx expo start. Click that, and this will start our app. So give it a minute or two and let it start our app and display on the virtual device here. So here it says Expo splash screen. This version that we installed is not stable with our Expo version. We have to install this specific one. So let's just copy this and stop our server for now. Control C, by the way, and paste the code that we just copied so that we fix all the dependencies and make sure everything works together and all the versions you are using works together. So once that is fixed, all we have to do is just start our app again. And you can just press npx expo start, select that, and let's start our server again. So our app is ready, and you can scan this code if you're using an iPhone. If not, we're going to be using our virtual device from Android here. And all we have to do is just type in A to open an Android. And to get the virtual device, head over to Android Studio on your Google browser, and you'll be able to download this and set this up. So as you can see, it is opening our app right here. All we have to do is just minimize this. So our app is ready, and we can just close this and also close this as well. Then we can start installing our app and working on our code. Inside of our app.js, we can clear all these because we will not be using this. We'll be using Tailwind CSS. You can as well clear all of this and say we only just want a text inside of here that will say hello world. Save that, and you see that right away. So first things first, I'm going to be creating a folder here called src, and inside of src, I'm going to create some set of folders as well. The first one is going to be components. Also, I'm going to be creating another one called fonts, which will house all our fonts. Also, I want to create another one called sections. And after that, I also want to create another one called utils. And these utils will contain all our dummy data that we're using for all our design. So we're going to head back into our code. Inside our font, remember that we downloaded a font earlier from Google Fonts. All you have to do is just take all those fonts that you downloaded and put it right into this folder. So I'm going to do that right now. So as you can see, these are my fonts that I just downloaded. Just put it here and keep it safe. After that, and also inside our utils, we're going to create a file called index.js. And here we're going to put some set of dummy data that we have right here, so we can map over them and display them in our component. So all you have to do is just head to the description. You're going to find these dummy data. I generated it from ChatGPT, and you can as well do that. All you have to do is make sure that the data set follows a particular pattern. So I'm just going to paste that right here. And as you can see, there are majorly two data sets that I'm using. The first one is the carousel data, which houses all these data. As you can see, the MasterCard, the price, the amount, everything. This is what handles all that. And also, I have this transaction data, which is basically all the data here. As you can see, Netflix subscription, the amount, and all. So those are the two data that I'm using. And also, I'm going to be using, and also I have a for each method loop here that is going to check through all the items that I have inside of my carousel data. And wherever we see price, it is going to format it into dollars. That is going to add these signs, and it's going to format it into thousands and cents. So this is what this method does or function. So after that, we can start creating our app. So the first thing I'm going to do is head into my app.js, and right here, I'm going to bring in the most important thing, which is save area view. And this is going to be coming from React Native Safe Area Contest. Once you do that, also you can see this area is kind of gray. All you have to do is just put a double bracket here and copy everything here and put it right here. This is basically just saying we are returning something, but we don't want to just return a single thing. So after this, we're going to say we want to have a status bar to be here. We don't want it to be auto, by the way. We want it to be using a specific color theme, depending on if we are on light mode or dark mode. So after this, we're going to say view. Also, we want to have a view here, and also we want to have another view, and this view is going to have a class name, And the class name is going to be margin y of 6, which is margin vertical, by the way. And here I'm going to create some set of sections, which is the header, the card, and the transaction. As you can see the design, we have our header here, and we have our card section here, and we have our transaction section here. So I'm going to just create header like this. Don't worry, it is going to throw an error that it doesn't exist. I'm going to fix that in a moment. I'm going to have a card here as well, and also I'm going to have a transaction here as well. Well, we want this to be transaction. Save that, and let's create all these individual components. So we head into our section. We're going to create a component called header.js. We have an error here. All we have to do is just put dots after that and create a boilerplate saying React Native functional components. And it's going to create an header for us. Also, we want to create another one called card.js. Bring that in, and also create a boiler code for that as well. And finally, under the sections, we want to create a transactions component, and also let's create a boiler code for that. Yes, we're done with that, and all we have to do is just go back to our app.js and import all this. So we're going to bring that in. Also, we're going to bring this in as well, and also this as well. In a moment, you should see all our components on the screen. It says header doesn't exist. All we have to do is just do this and import it right away, and you can see them all here. So we're ready to work on our app. And on this safe area view, I just want to have some set of styling there. I'm going to say P, which is padding, by the way, is 6. And also I want to say if it is dark, then I want the background to be neutral, then 900, which is basically this dark background. So, and also before we leave here, I want to bring in the color scheme that will change our app into dark mode and light mode. So to do that, I'm going to say from here, import, and I'm going to say use color scheme, and it is going to be coming from native wind. Be careful, guys. You want this from native wind, not React Native. And here, I'm going to destructure the values from the custom hook use color scheme that we created right here. I'm going to say const, and this is going to be an object. And let me just assign it first to what we just created. Save that. And inside of this, I'm going to destructure some things. I'm going to call this one color scheme. Also, I want to use toggle color scheme. And this color scheme is the one that will hold all our state if it is dark or light. And this toggle color scheme, it is the one that will make sure our function of switching from dark to light works. So, and after creating that, I also want to bring in a method from Expo fonts. We've not installed the package yet, but let's go to our browser, and you can see Expo fonts right here. Copy these, go back into your browser, and bring up your terminal. Then in the second terminal, I'm going to head into the folder itself, which is UI Bank, and you're going to paste this code right here, and it's going to install Expo fonts. So let's bring that down a bit, and we're going to say import. This is going to be use font from Expo font, and we've installed it, and this has been installed, as you can see. So we're going to close this, and it says unexpected keyword export. So all you have to do is just try and reload your app. So just reload it. So once you reload, you get this error. All you have to do is just stop your server, and it's saying unable to resolve Expo fonts. And if you check into our package.json, you can see our Expo font right here. It has been installed. But sometimes when working with mobile development, you have to do things more than once and restart your server and make sure everything works properly. So we're just going to say npx expo start, and this is going to reload all our app and all the dependency that we just installed right now. So let's just close this package.json and also this index.js, and also let's close card as well, and also transaction, and the header is the next thing we're going to be working on. So, and it says something here is not working with something, and it's saying Expo font, we need to install a specific version. So let's just copy this, and let's just go back into our code and paste this. This is going to install the dependency and the correct version that works well with each other. So give this a moment to install, and that has been fixed. So we'll go back into our terminal. We're going to say A by typing letter A, and this is going to open on our Android right away. So let's just minimize this and keep it like this. So this still shows. I'll just press R to reload and bundle our app once again. This is ready, and that is one of the reasons I like to install all my packages at once before I start developing, or whenever I install any package, I make sure that I restart my server. Now the error has gone, and we can start using our use font function from Expo font. So, and after this, I'm going to say const. This is going to be an array, and I'm going to assign it to use fonts, which is a function that we brought in earlier. And inside of this, I'm going to say font loaded, comma, and also font error. So this is the two states that we need right here. Also, we're going to say, and inside of this, we're just going to paste this right here, which is basically just using the fonts that we just created. So we are creating a variable called space growtex semi-bold, and we are bringing it or requiring it from inside of our source folder and inside of our font right here. And this specific font and its extension is what I'm bringing right here. So the only thing I'm just doing is dot slash inside of our source folder, inside of our font, use this specific font and assign it to this. So in our app, we can just say space growtex semi-bold and assign it as the font family for a specific font type. And next thing we're going to do is create another hook, which is const on layout root view. And this is going to look like this. And I'm going to say if the font loaded or the font error is true, then I'm going to say await splash screen.hide async. And after that, it says this doesn't exist, and that's because we are here to install splash screen. So we head back into our browser and you go into the npm package installer, and you're going to see Expo splash screen. Copy the code, go back to your code, bring up your terminal, and where we are installing our terminal, let's just bring this up very well. Put this in and click on enter, and it's going to install our package right away. As you can see, it is installing. Now we have to stop our server and start it again. So let's just stop our server and head back into our installation, and let's see if that has been installed. Good. So we head back here and we just start our app again. And we head back into our code. And also you can see here that it says unexpected reserve word awaits. Let's just bring this up and start our app once again. So to fix this error, all we have to do is just wrap all these functions inside of another hook called use callback hook. So we're going to say use callback, and this is going to be like this. And we're going to say wrap everything here like this. And also I'm going to say this is going to be an async. Save that, and this await error should be gone. And this is not showing yet. Let me just reload my app. And also, as I've installed splash screen, let me just import it. It is not saying it's good. All I have to do is just say import star as splash screen from Expo splash screen. Then our error is fixed. Then after that, I'm going to say this use callback also takes in a dependency, and dependency is font loaded and font error. So, and finally here, I'm going to say if font loaded is not true, I'm going to remove this. I'm just going to return null. So if the font loaded is not here, just return null. And after that, I can just say here that we have our status bar. How about to just change this and say if the color scheme is equal to dark, then we are going to use the light theme for the status bar. Else, we're just going to use dark. Save that, and whenever we are in dark mode, this status bar will change to light, and whenever we are in light mode, this status stage will change to dark. So moving on, also I want to use this on layout root function I just created. So I'm going to say on layout, I'm going to assign it to on layout root view that we created right here, and our font should work perfectly. So that's all that we need to do under our app. Next thing we're going to work on is this header right here. So inside of this header, as you can see, I have this lady image right here. I'm going to import that right away into my assets and the images. So also you can just bring in any image that you want into these assets. So inside of this asset, I have this images folder. And inside of this folder, I have amazon.png, which is basically just Amazon logo that I've worked on. And also you have other images as well, and also the avatar that we'll be using in our header. So let's just close that, head back to our header and start working here. First things first, we're going to say class name is going to be bg red 500. Save that, and as you can see, our component works back again. So we're going to start styling these once again by saying class name flex of row, justify of between, items of center. And after that, I'm going to have another view, and inside of this view I'm going to have a class name, and this class name is going to be border of 2, border of white, rounded of full, overflow of hidden. And inside of this view I'm going to have my image right here, and my image we have the following: the source, which is the most important properties. I'm going to say require it from not this part but this part, and I'm not going to call this profile but avatar.png. And also I'm going to import image right away, and you can see our image is right here. Then I'm going to give it a style, and this is going to be width of 45, and also I'm going to say the height is going to be of 45, and this will sit pretty right here. And after this view as well, I'm going to create a comment here that says notification and switch icon. So here I'm going to create another view, and this view is going to say class name, and this class name is going to be flex of row, space x of 4, justify of center, items of center. And inside of this view I'm just going to say bell icon, and this is coming from, let's just import this right here and say bell icon, and this is coming from React Native hero icons and solid. Let's see if you have installed that first, and it seems we've imported it right here. So let's just go back here and say we don't want this to be solid but outline. Save that, and that should fix our issue. This is throwing an error here. So that has been fixed. All we have to do is just input the other properties right here. We're going to call this size of 30, stroke width is going to be 2, and also the color is going to be based on the color theme. So we're going to say if color scheme is dark, then we're going to use the white color for the icon, else we're going to use the black. So it says color scheme doesn't exist. We have to bring this in right away. So over here we're going to say const, we're going to say color scheme, and also toggle color scheme. We're going to use scheme from native wind. That should fix our issue. And it still say color scheme doesn't exist. All we have to do is just fix this type right here, and we are good to go. And you can see our icon right away. So we're just going to remove these texts, save that, and after this we're going to bring in our switch, which will make us switch between dark and light mode. And the value for this is going to be color scheme is equal to dark, and also an unchange is going to be equal to toggle color scheme. And all you have to do is just import this right away from React Native, and you can see our switch here. So if we switch this is going to turn our app into light and dark mode. So let's do that in 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, our app is dark right here, and if you switch it back it will turn into light. As you can see, the status bar here is changing to light and dark mode depending on if we're on light or dark. So that has been fixed, and you can see our icon too is changing from dark to white, dark to white. And this text is the only thing that we need to fix. So we're done with our header right here. So let's just work on the card and the transactions. So when this is ready, we'll be working on the card component, and we're just going to add it to section and card.js, and this is where we're going to work on our card component. So let's begin working on this. First things first, inside of this view, we're going to have a class name, and this class name is going to be margin top of 8, margin bottom of 4. And also, this text is going to have a style, and this style is going to be font family, and it is going to be space grotesque bold. That is the font we'll be using, and as you can see, that has been changed. And after this, we're going to say the class name here is going to be text of 3XL, margin bottom of 4. And when it is dark, that is when the theme is dark, we want to use the text of white. So if we toggle this will change to white text, and if we toggle it back, this will change to black text. So moving on, we're going to have a scroll view after this, and this scroll view is going to take in some properties. And the first property is going to be, we want to make sure it is horizontal. Also, we want to have a class name here, and the class name is going to be space x of 5. And also, we want to say show horizontal scroll indicator to be false. We don't want to show that. And after that, inside of this is where we're going to map through our carousel data that we have in our utils right here. So let's head back into our card. And under this, we're going to say import carousel data from this, but this is not the part that we want. We want to have this part, utils, and also index. So inside of this scroll view is where we're going to say carousel data dot map, and we're going to have a unique item here for each of the items we'll be looping through. And also we're going to say we want to have a simple card component here, but we want to make sure it is called card item. We're going to create this in a moment by going to components. We're going to call this card item.js, and we're going to create a boiler code for this. And inside of our card, we're going to import this right away so it doesn't throw any error. After setting that, we want to pass in some props here. That is, whatever we have here, we want to have a unique props for it, like the amount and so on. So inside of this card item, we're just going to say we want a key, and the key is item.id. Also want an img URL, which is coming from item.url data. And also we want to have the price, which is coming from item.price. And also we don't want the title, we want the card type, and this is going to be assigned to item.card type. And after this, we also want the card number, which is going to be assigned to the item.card number, and also the background color, which is assigned to item.background color. This is not supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be showing. Let's just bring up our terminal and reload, and let's see why that is not working and fix it ASAP. So this should show any moment from now. Let's just close our terminal. Moving on, we're going to head into our card item, and inside of here is where we're going to pass in all the props that we are going to be using for this specific component. And to get started with this, we're going to say this is going to be a touchable opacity. Let's just make sure that is imported. Good. Inside of here, we're going to say class name is going to be margin right of 4. That is, each individual item is going to have a margin right of 4. And after that, we're going to have a view inside of this. And this view is going to have the following styling. It's going to have a rounded of 3XL, PY of 8, PX of 4, justify of between. And inside of these, we're going to have a style. And the style is going to be the width is going to be width multiplied by 0.45. And also we want to have the height, and the height is going to be height, and this is not going to be 0.25 but 0.3. And all we have to do is just bring in this width and height from our dimensions of the screen of a specific device. and we're going to say const width and height is coming from dimensions, and we're going to get the specific window dimension of the device we are on. So we're going to import this straight away. So this should fix by the way. And after this, we're going to say the background color is going to be background color, which is this props here. And after this, inside of this view, we're going to have an image. And this image source is going to be img URL, which is this props here. This should work. Let me just reload this. When it comes to building with React Native and using virtual device, you get these little tiny errors. They're not majorly errors, but your virtual device just doing one or two things, which is not supposed to. So it said image doesn't exist. Let's just import that right away. And after this source, we're going to say the style. And the style for this is going to be width. The width is going to be 65. Also the height is going to be 65 as well. And the resize mode is going to be contain as well. So let's just close this. And as you can see, all our brand logo coming up one by one, as you can see. So after this view, we're going to also have another view. And this view is going to have a text inside. And this text is going to have the card number. Save that, and you should see the card number in a bit. So this view is going to have a class name. And this class name is going to be space y of 2. And this text is going to also have a class name. And the class name here is going to be text of large, text of white. Save that. Scroll up. And also we want to have a style property here. And this is going to be font family. And this is going to be space Grotex bold. And this font will change right away. After this, we're going to have a view. And inside of this view, we're going to have a text like this. And this is going to have the price prop that we passed in earlier. And you can see our prices here. Let's just give it its own styling as well. So this is going to have a class name. And the class name here is going to be space y of 2. And this text also is going to say text 2XL and also text white. Save that, and that should look big already. And after that, we're also going to have this style that we have here. We're just going to pass that in right here, and that should fix our code. And also after this, we're going to have a text. And this text is going to have the props of card type. And we're going to say class name, font of medium, text of large, text of white. Save that. And also finally, we're going to have the style prop that we have here. So this looks good already and looks the same as what we have here. So if we toggle this will change to black theme, and we're going to see all our cards here one by one. So moving on, all we have to do is create this transaction section and we are good to go. After this, we're going to work on the next component, which is going to be transactions. Let's just open that right away. We're going to close our card and also our card item, and let's just close this as well. So instead of our transaction, let's begin styling this. We're going to say class name, and this class name is going to be margin top of 8. And also we're going to say we want our title to be here, and this title is going to be called last transactions. Save that, and let's give this a null styling as well. So we're going to say text 3XL, then dark is going to be text of white, and margin bottom of 4. And you should see our text right away. And also finally on this text, we're going to say the style is going to be font family of space Grotex bold, and the font has changed. So after this, we're going to have a comment here that said cards. And after this, we're going to be using a flat list because our data is quite much. So inside of this flat list, it is going to take some things. And the first thing it's going to take is data. And the data will be assigned to transaction data, which is coming from utils. And after this, we're going to say the key extractor is going to be item, which is basically item.id. So that is, we are mapping through all the data here, and we are assigning the item.id to the key extractor. And after that, we're going to say initial number to render. We just want to pass 20. And also the content container style, we want to have padding bottom. I want to set that to 100. And after this, we want to have another prop called remove clipped subviews. We're going to set that to false rather. And also we want to set the height to be not 500 but 400. And also we want to have the render item. And the render item is going to have a function inside of this, basically an arrow function. And it is going to have the transaction card. And this will be a self-closing component. And this is going to spread all the items that we are receiving into this particular component. And inside of here, we're going to destructure the item that we are getting. So let's create this transaction card in a moment, but let's finish this first. Also, we're going to say shows vertical scroll view indicator to be false. And also the item separator component, we want to also have a function here. And here we want to have just height of 4. So this will basically separate each of these cards, and you can see the spacing in between them. This is the properties that is handling that. So let's create a transaction card. Inside our component, we're going to say transaction card.js. Click that, and let's bring in our boilerplate code here. So inside of this, we're going to just say, okay, this doesn't exist because you're using transaction card. Let's remove the S and let's import this right away. That should fix our problem because we've already imported transaction card. It said items doesn't exist. Well, that's because we are using item here and not items. So let's just save that. That should fix our error. As you can see, we have some text here already, which are basically the transaction card that we have here. So let's continue styling this, and we can just give this some nice and say dark, then the text should be white, and you will see all our text right away. So if you click that, everything here will change to black, and if you click that again, that will change to the opposite. So we want to continue styling our transaction card to look just like this. So first things first, we are going to destructure the properties that we have in the previous screen, which is name, type, and also amount, also date, and also image, source. Save that, and we should be good to go. So this view, we want to have a class name here, and this class name is going to be rounded of 3xl, py of 8, px of 4, justify of between, flex of row, items of center, then background also we want to have E5, E5, E5 as our background, and that should show in a minute. Let's just remove this and fix this right away. Save that, and you can see our background looking good already. And let's just minimize this. And also after this, we want to have a style, and the style is going to be the width is going to be working with 100%. And also we're going to say the max width is going to be width coming from the dimension windows. And also we're going to have a comma here. Height is going to be height multiplied by 0.12. So above here, we're going to say const. We want to have a width and height from dimensions method. And we're just going to import that right away. And our card looks good already. As you can see, all our transactions. So the next thing is basically just removing this text, by the way. And after this, we want to have a view. And this view is going to have the following class names, and the class name is going to be flex of row space x of 6 items of center justify of also center. So after this view, we're going to also have another view, and this view is going to have the following class name. It's going to say bg of white rounded of xl, and inside of this view we're going to have our wonderful image, and we're going to just import that right away. So after this, we're going to have a source, and this source is going to be image source. And after this source, we're going to say, let's just import this right away. Okay, we have our image already, and we're going to say we want these following styles, but we don't want this to be 50 but 65, and also we want this to be 65 as well, and that should look cool already. And we're going to say the resize mode is going to be contain. So we're going to scroll up, and after this view, we're going to have another view here, and this view here is going to say class name. We're going to have space y of 1, and inside of this we're going to have a text, and this text is going to basically say name, and you see our name show right away. So we're going to say the class name for this is going to be text 2xl, and also we're going to say we want to have a style as well. Let's just come here and say the style is going to be font family, and it's going to be Grotex space Grotex bold, and that should change right away. And after this as well, we want to have a text. Let's just copy this text straight away, and let's just put a comment here which says name. And also this, we want to have the type comment here, and we just want to change this to type. Save that. And also we want to use a specific kind of font. We don't want to use bold, we want to use medium. And here we don't want to use this, we just want to use text of small, and also text neutral of 500, and that should look good already, just like what we have right here. And after this view, let's just scroll up, and after that we're going to also have another view here, and this view is going to say class name is going to be space y of 1, and inside of this we're going to say text, not this but this. We're going to have a class name, and the class name is going to be text of XL, not 2XL. And inside of this text, we're just going to use the amount right away, and that should look good already. So all we have to do is just copy this style right here and just put this right here. And after that, we're going to copy this text once again. We're just going to have a comment here that says date, and this is going to be amount. Move up under this, let's just paste that right away, and here we're going to say this is going to be date, and that looks good already. Let's reduce that a bit and change this to SM, also text neutral of 500. Save that, and our transaction is ready. Look at that, guys. In under a few minutes we're able to create this transaction component. And also let's just give it a shadow whenever it is in light mode. Let's just put a shadow under this. So we're just going to say shadow SM. So after this, it shows that our component is ready. All we have to do is just remove this card item that is making that not look really cool. So inside of our card item, wherever we have that text, just remove that. We don't want that at all. And our app is almost ready. All we have to do is put in animation, and our app should be good. Inside of our transaction.js, inside of this, we're going to change this to animated.view. Let's bring that in first by saying import animated from React Native reanimated. And after this, we're going to bring in something also called fade in down. So inside of this view, we're going to say this is animated.view, and also we we want to have a properties here, and property to make the animation fade in down is known as entering. Entering, we're going to use face in down, and this face in down is also going to use a method called the duration, and duration is 500. Also, we want to have a springify method as well, and also we want to delay the animation by 300. Save that, and whenever we come back here, you're going to see the animation. Let's just fix all that first. So copy this, and we're going to put the animation on this card as well. So in the card component and in this view, I'm just going to say animated.view, and I'm going to import that. It is already shouting. Let's just import that from React Native Reanimated, and also bring in what we brought in earlier, which is fade in down. And inside of these, we're just going to paste what we copied earlier, which is the fade in down with its method. But this is not going to be 300, but 200. Save that. And whenever we reload, we're going to see animation. But before that, let's also set the animation on these headers right away. So we head back to our app. Inside of our headers, we're just going to import what we used earlier by saying animated, and also bring in fade in down. Leave that right there, and say this view is going to be known as animated.view. And also, we're going to pass the property right here, but this is going to be 100, the delay. So let's reload our app, and you're going to see the animation in a bit. So let's just reload and watch our screen. You're going to see the animation come in one by one. As you can see, we have our animation coming one by one. So if you toggle these, you have your dark theme, and you can scroll through all these cards right here. And if you toggle it back, you have your light theme, and that is how to set all of that. Our component is ready, our app is ready. Thank you for joining me. So that is all. Watch the next video so you can learn how to publish this. Thank you for joining me, and bye bye for today.